welcome everyone. I'm going to turn the music back down a little bit. Thank you all for joining us today. I know it's a little bit of dated news, but I know something that we're all really excited about here is Intel's decision to build the largest chip factory in the world here in Ohio. I wish it was in Cleveland. That would have been a better choice, but I'll take Columbus, just like I'll take the Cincinnati Bengals. Listen, I know that normally I don't care about them at all, but it's pretty exciting that an Ohio team is going to the Super Bowl, even for non-sports ball focused people like me. So we're very excited about Intel coming in this transition of being known as the Rust Belt, hopefully, to a manufacturing STEM hub in the Midwest. So it's gonna be really exciting to watch this plan roll out. And we'll be excited to see the creation of STEM-related jobs in our region. I think the thing to look forward here, as far as I'm concerned, is all of the other jobs that will spring up by having a large chip manufacturing facility in the state. Some of those, I hope, will filter up here north a little bit. Maybe more excited, though, is that Cavs win last night, 90-93 against our friends in New Orleans. This is an exciting game to the end. Downtown Cleveland is packed with fans, and our team is on fire right now. It's enough to put a smile on your face and excitement in your heart. I think that it's also going to put the tickets and participation for our upcoming NeoSTEM Cavs event in pretty high demand. If you're not new here today, as a matter of fact, by show of Zoom hands or your real ones, how many new people? Is there anybody new on this call? If you could give me like a little hands up. Hi, Emily. And also, maybe Katie, are you clapping? Or are you saying you're new? I don't even know anymore. But Emily, would you mind introducing yourself to everyone really quickly?
Sure. Hi, everyone. Thanks for allowing me to join today. I'm Emily Lammers. I'm actually on the marketing communications team at the Cleveland Foundation and had a really nice meeting with the STEM ecosystems team last week. And so they suggested I should join in to hear about what you all are doing and figure out ways that our team can support and promote the great work you're doing. So thanks.
I love that. We love the work of the Cleveland Foundation. And I'm sure you already know that NeoSTEM and Ties have done all sorts of projects with Helen and Leon and others throughout the years. Katie, are you also, is this your first time? Or are you just applauding Emily?
Yes, no, it is my first time. I guess, excited to be here for sure. So maybe that's why I chose the clapping icon instead.
That's okay.
I am the new outreach and community engagement manager with the Lorain Public Library System. So I'm here. My manager kind of clued me into the awesome things you guys are doing, and I want to see how we can promote that in the community.
I love it. That's exciting. You'll learn that I'm kind of here, I'll even show you. I need one from you now, because all I drink out of are library coffee mugs.
Yes.
That's my thing when I travel everywhere in the world. I go to the library, and if they have a coffee mug, I buy it. Sometimes I buy it off of the librarian if they don't sell them for real, like in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania. Well, welcome. Thank you both for joining us today. Everyone else, if you wouldn't mind, since we've got two people that are new, go ahead and pop open that chat window. Let us know in there who you are, who you're with, what organization you're with. That always helps our newbies get to know kind of part of the organization. You'll also learn, Katie and Emily, as you join, that we've got some core folks that are here almost every time, and then we've got another 20 or 30 that sort of come in and out. So you'll see some of the same faces and some new ones every time you join us. So that's exciting to have some new faces. I always like that. And something else that's sort of new, not brand new, but sort of new, is that you know that NeoSTEM has transitioned its focus over the past years to focus on Black and Brown students and to raise our commitment to serving those most in need in Northeast Ohio. We're so grateful to have you as partners for this important work, all of you. And now Ebony is going to share her Black History Month apple orchard story. That's what I said. What are you talking about? What are you talking about, Ebony?
All right. So yeah, for me, it's an exciting month, everyone. February 1st, we always tease in the Black community, it's the shortest month of the year for Black History Month, but we make the most of it, and we usually have fun, celebrating it with a bang. So literally on the family thread this morning, we're doing shout outs like, hey, do you know what month this is? Black History Month. And it dawned on me when I was recently visiting an apple orchard that it reminded me of this important work, and I'll explain. So we all know like the sad history growing up as a kid. Black History Month, it was always about enslavement, sadness, the civil rights era, they're shooting people and all that. And it's just sad and depressing. And then, you learn about Ellis Island and, immigrants coming over to the States. And I'm like, that's not the way my, ancestors came over on the boat. It just wasn't a feel good story ever. So I had to kind of like go through my stages of grief with learning that history and kind of accept it and get over it and kind of change it to an empowerment kind of like tale, because that's what it should be. So instead of like all the loss that came from that horrible period in time, to kind of shape it and say, you know what, I'm part of the survivors, So yeah, that's all horrible and it's sad, but also we represent a strong group of people that like survived that ordeal and what that all means. So this brings me to the apple orchard. So I was shopping at the apple orchard. It's an amazing place where you can go and get all the apples that you want, green ones, fat ones, little ones, crunchy ones, soft ones, and they all smell delicious. The apple orchard is so amazing. They have free samples of pressed cider, like in a bag. When you walk in the door, you can just grab an apple, eat it while you're shopping. Like, how amazing is that? But right there in this apple orchard, off to the side, they have other selections of produce. So if you just want to pick up cabbage, strawberries, blueberries, onions, whatever you need at that moment at the apple orchard, it's this huge selection. So I'm in there shopping, doing my thing. I got my little basket, grabbed my apples and veggies. And then I saw this little section and it said free, take me. And I'm like, free? And you know how you kind of pause and you wonder like candid camera, so I'm looking around and I'm like, really, you can just take this? And I'm not talking about the apples that were on glass when you walk in the door. This was that fruit. You all know the fruit. It's like the fruit and veggies. And it's like a day or two away of being tossed out. So they didn't really care. They're just like, hey, if you can pick it out and it works for you, to just take it. And that reminded me of like the underserved, the battered, the bruised communities. Like no one cared about it enough. It was just free. You could take it. And I guess if no one took it, it was going to be tossed out in the trash. And I was like, what? I'm like, there has to be a better way. And no one was tracking it. So when I went up to the counter, had I picked the little onion that was on its last leg, I'm like, do they know that? Is it the honor system? Do I tell them? Who's keeping track of this vegetable? I just had to know. So it just kind of gave me a funny feeling. That same day I'm shopping. I know this is a long story, but bear with me, you all. So that same day I'm shopping, they had amazing strawberries, like at this apple orchard. And they were like, get it now. Fresh pick of the day. They're super sweet. You want to have these strawberries. To me, now I'm thinking, this is the good stuff. This is the good stuff that you hear about in the community. You have these scholars. You think about all the people out there that are contributing to this great body of work. They're highlighted for 2 seconds in the news, and then they go away and you don't hear about them. So that was a celebratory moment for me to think about, you know what? Those strawberries, those are like all the people that I know, amazing Black History Month stories. They pop in, they're there for a minute, we celebrate, and then we don't think about it anymore because it always goes back to the fact that I'm in this apple orchard. So everything that's being featured is the apple all the time. So there we go. This is bringing me back to STEM. When we think about this important work, I know, it's been said, I've been popping in on these meetings before I came into this role. We've been saying, hey, folks, how can you help out? How can you do better? So what I'm thinking is that it's up to us to kind of work both of these worlds. Just as much as we have to serve our Black and Brown communities, we're also going to have to talk to the folks that's all about caring for these apples. So my position on this is, can we just make a little bit more room to have this exciting diversity and the rest of the produce come forward? Like literally, can we just move some of the apples to the side, think about different shelving arrangements so we can all share this space? And I promise you, this spot will be like the Mecca. Everyone will be wanting to go to the apple orchard. Why? Because they're going to have everything there. Like the selection is going to be amazing. And that's how I think about the work in NeoSTEM all in this apple orchard story. Again, I know it's a little off, but I promise you, this is a true story. I was at the Amish country shopping, and it was the second when I saw the battered veggies where I was like, who's thinking about them? Someone has to look out for them. And that's how I think about this important work. So just kind of balance the way we're doing, like our business, and think about it's part advocacy. So let's talk about pushing back on those systems, moving some of the apples out the way, because there's room for all of us. So that's my apple orchard kickoff to Black History Month story. And I will share with you, folks who are into reading, 2 amazing books that like kind of changed me in my adult life would be The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks and Hidden Figures. So those were 2 amazing stories that I've learned about as an adult that fundamentally just rocked my world as a Black female to think about the contributions to science. So for Black History Month, I'm going to ask you all, if you have not read those books yet, please go out, get yourself a copy, maybe YouTube, listen to a video or something, or someone's interview, so you can hear about those important stories. Thank you all for letting me share.
Thank you, Ebony. I'm sure I'm not the only one. I'm sure I'm preaching to the choir here, but how many times a week do I look at idiots on Twitter and think to myself, nobody's saying get rid of the apples
at all, right? We're not saying that, Jeremy.
We're just saying there's other stuff too.
Exactly.
So I love
there's
that.
More room.
And I also love, we talk about this a lot at NeoSTEM if you're new. We're really big believers in story here and the power of story, and that story that Ebony just told will stick with you, as we kind of move forward. So thank you for sharing that, Ebony. And I don't know, I think you should lead a Immortal Life book study, because I would totally read it again. It's a great book. I've never read Hidden Figures. Sorry, I saw the movie. I don't know.
Oh, you saw the movie. Okay. That counts.
All right.
Bonus points. Yeah.
All right. So now next up, we'd like to talk a little bit about the Cavs and the updates from the Cavs event. I mentioned at the top that there's a lot of excitement around this event. There already was, but now with the Cavs kind of being on fire, there's even more excitement. We're very kind of excited for where it's going. As you all know, or most of you, some of you I know are a little bit newer, but as most of you know, because of the pandemic, we dialed a couple things down, which we're bummed about, but it's the right choice for safety. And we still have pretty high hopes that it's going to be a really great event, and we'll be able to do all of those extra things next year. So I'm hoping that first up, perhaps John can talk a little bit about the sponsors that will be there and what they plan to offer. John?
Hey, Jeremy, thanks. And hi, everybody. Ebony, that's a really tough story to follow. So thanks for that.
But it's the Cavs. It's easy. Come on, you got this.
We've got, so we've actually, with respect to the exhibitors, they're going to be there and they're going to put on some great programming. We have really kind of blown up in the last week. We've basically doubled the number of exhibitors that we've had, which is fantastic. We've got a ton of organizations coming. Lorain County Community College, Soapbox Derby, Ohio Invention League, YOU. I'm not going to read all these, but there's a bunch of them. Holden Forest and Gardens, ASM Materials, Goodyear, Drink Local, Drink Tap, which admittedly I thought was about beer, but it's not. It's about clean water. The Girl Scouts of Northeast Ohio and the University of Akron. So there's a lot of really cool people and organizations coming. There's going to be a lot of great exhibits. We've got, from what I understand, birds coming to talk or to show us the STEM and the dynamics of flight. ASM Materials is going to cut a bunch of different sports balls in half to show us what's inside, and somehow they're going to make sparks of fire out of that. Holden Forest and Gardens is coming, and they're going to show us how to figure out how many trees it takes to build a basketball court. Great Lakes Science Center is going to somehow shoot basketballs with rockets. So we've got a lot of really cool science exhibits. A lot of it's sports focused. A lot of it is other focused, but it's all really, really interesting. So we're excited about it. I will share in chat as soon as I'm done talking the link to our partnership application so that if anybody you want to pass this information along, if you want to, if you know of an organization that wants to show up, and put on an exhibit, just have them please pass it on and have them give us a call and get in touch with us. So things are rocking and rolling. It's really exciting.
That is exciting. I really have this image in my mind that it seems like it's kind of starting to come to shape about this, almost having like a three-ring circus atmosphere, that wherever you look, there's something to see and something to excite young people about STEM. And John, I think the exhibits that you're starting to put together and collect are really getting at that. So thank you for that work. And I know I'm very excited to see all this stuff in real life. And I just hope that we don't accidentally knock over the Jumbotron or something with a rocket powered basketball. I feel like that would be a bad way to end the night. So as long as we don't do that, I think we're in a good place.
Yeah, I'm more concerned with blowing stuff up, but yeah, we'll keep it safe.
All right. So thank you, John. And as we go through all of these, if you have any questions, this is, again, especially if you're new, we are very, very informal. So just jump in and ask, or put your hand up, your virtual hand, or say something in the chat. We're happy to kind of veer off course and answer any of those things. While you're maybe thinking about questions that you might have, Alyssa, I'm hoping that you can talk a little bit about funding. I know people, including me, get very uncomfortable and don't like to talk. I'm an educator. I don't like to talk about money ever. It makes me very uncomfortable, but it's important. And so Ebony, I think, suggested that maybe we don't frame it as money, money, money. Instead, we frame it as, what is the impact that we're going to be able to have on Cleveland youth because of the money that we're raising for this event?
Yeah, Jeremy, thanks so much. I'm happy to do that, but not until we talk about Fee dressing up like a bird. We
Ready.
may have.
I'm gonna do it. I'm ready.
If you don't know what's happening right now in the chat, Fee offered to dress up like a bird when Alyssa said birds maybe aren't a good idea.
I can
Yeah,
do it.
there's we're getting a little bit of pushback from some of the building management folks at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse about the live animals, but we're pushing back and we're trying to hold firm, but we may end up losing. But knowing that we've got Fee waiting in the wings to dive in, to fly in, gives me a whole lot of peace and comfort. So yeah,
I was an owl last year.
You were not. Do you
Yeah,
still have
for
your
Halloween.
costume?
So I'm ready. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Casey. You caught it. You're the only one waiting in the wings. Thank you. Okay. So we are trying really hard to drive a lot of impact with this event. To quote Jeremy, to quote our friend and colleague and mentor, Jan Morrison, we're trying not to make this a random act of STEM. We do not want this to be a one and done. We want this to be an ongoing engagement. We want people, students and families, to come to this event, to connect with the Great Lakes Science Center, to connect with ASM, to connect with Parker Hannafin, Rockwell Automation, Highland Software, all of our other amazing organizations, Baldwin Wallace College, Lorraine County Community College, all of the others that will be there, and to trigger something and jumpstart. Hopefully you guys will come on board to really trigger, and hard-headed women, Casey, to really trigger something and to ignite something, and then to make a connection with them that we will then share their information with you and with other NeoSTEM partners in the hope that we can engage them throughout the year and future years and track them and keep this going. In order to do that, it does unfortunately take dollars. We have, some steep costs associated with this event. Thanks to the generosity of some incredible individuals and organizations, some of whom are on this call today, we're doing pretty well. We are, I'm going to say, 3/4 of the way there in terms of our fundraising goals. We still have, give or take, another $40,000 or $45,000 to raise. I think that we'll get there. We have numerous asks pending out there. But if you know of any individuals or organizations that may want to make a donation, it is tax deductible if they are providing tickets for students and families. If they are doing a sponsorship and then want to come to the game, and use tickets for themselves, then whatever they would benefit from, the face value of the ticket would not be tax deductible, but everything above and beyond that, of course, is. So I'm happy to connect with anybody, if anybody knows. So Jeremy, is that enough? Ebony, anything else you guys want me to add?
No, I think that's
I
the
just
key.
want
Yep, go ahead.
I want to say one other thing. When the Cavs first approached us, can't quite remember, what month is it now? February. Oh my gosh, February 1st. Jeremy, you and I went down there. What month was that? It wasn't that long ago.
Must have late December, maybe, or early January.
Yeah.
Recently.
It's too soon to do anything even resembling a victory lap, except for this. The planning committee that's been involved in this, and the energy and the passion and the dedication that people have displayed has been nothing short of phenomenal. The creativity and the ingenuity and the sheer just willingness to show up week after week after week and navigate through this COVID stuff and imagine things. I mean, there are no rule books for what we're doing right now. And to work in this ambiguity is really kind of stellar. So I just wanted to say thank you to everybody.
And the only thing I want to add to what Alyssa's saying is just to drive home a tiny bit more what she already said, which is this is really good and important work that can't be done without all of you. And that means volunteering, which I know most, if not all of you, have stepped up to do already. It means if your organization has a little bit of funding to buy a table or whatever, that helps so much, and it brings kids to this event and gets your organization out there to a brand new audience. And it means many of you in this room, and I know I like to hold my, rich organizations and people close to my vest, so I get it. But many of you know a couple that you've interacted with throughout your work and all those things. Think about giving us a shot and letting Alyssa have a conversation with that person. We promise we'll do you well. And it's only through those types of connections that we can make this type of event work. So we'd really appreciate if you take just 5 minutes at the end of this session or tomorrow and just kind of think through, are there people that don't know about this work yet, whose mission is aligned with this work, who would be interested? We're not asking for out of left field, random whatever, but there are people out there who are focused on young people in Cleveland, people of color, STEM in general, all of those types of things. Someone. So give them a shot if you don't mind. All right, now I'll get off of my funding soapbox really quickly. This is something really excited, this whole event, but in case you find yourself with the extra bandwidth, what's also been in the news is CMSD's PACE program. And Andrea Vullo's here today with us with the latest updates. We learned a little bit about this several months ago. And she's going to share with us how easy it is to get on board. Ebony, before we invite Andrea to share, was there something you wanted to add about the PACE program?
Yeah, it's something I wanted to share because I've been going to the meetings. So, they have an employer partner meeting. So I get to see this transition happening, which is why I invited Andrea back to the table today to make sure that all of our partners in NeoSTEM knew about this opportunity. So I'll also tell you all, Ebony is in rare form today. I am never like this woman with all these stories, but I had to share another story before Andrea, tells us about PACE. So those of you who have kids, if you ever have to go pick up your kids from school, they have all these crazy systems, right? You have to be here at 3:15, they let the cars go through and they flag it down, they send your kids out, or you have to walk up to the door, all these crazy things. So I remember I had to go pick up my nephew and my sister gave me all these rules. And she's like, you got to have the sign ready. They're going to look for the name, make sure you do this and do that. And I promise you all, the first time I miserably failed at this. I didn't get it right. So then the next time I go to the school and I'm like, you know what, I'm learning. I pull up in the lane. I'm like, yeah, I'm car number 1. No, I was car number 1 in the second lane after they let 50 cars in the first lane go. So I'm all, I just had it all wrong. And the reason why I'm sharing this story is to tell you all, when Andrea begins to talk about PACE, because it's a new program, if you have worked with CMSD students before, that's great. But if you have not, you're gonna have to try it. You're just gonna have to jump in there, just like how I had to do to go pick up my nephew. And the end result is it was successful. You know what I'm saying? Like, I did it once, I did it twice, I did it thrice. I had to go in there, learn the ropes, figure it out. And that's what I want to share with you all today. So kind of taking her presentation, she's going to bring us up to date. And I just want everyone to kind of pause and say, you know what, even if it was something that I thought that I didn't want to do, that I'm just going to do a little pilot run to see if it's the right fit. So that's what I wanted to share with my rare Ebony stories today. And then Andrea can kick us off and bring us up to date with all things new at Pace.
Awesome. I love how much we're learning about Ebony in this episode of NeoSTEM. Andrea?
No, thank you. And Ebony, that is not where I thought you were going with the end of that story. We are creating a massive system to support CMSD and eventually to support the greater Cleveland community. And when you talk about all these rules and processes and have to follow this and that, we are literally doing that behind the scenes right now to try to figure out how this works in a streamlined manner to be supportive of all 103 school buildings in CMSD, plus the rest that get added on. So bear with us. We are learning. We appreciate you when you join on board with us in this trial period of this prototype year, as CEO Gordon calls it, because we're figuring a lot of things out. We're working out the system. We're working out a lot of things. But most of all, we're just super excited to be opening up the doors to partners to come talk about your occupations and career pathways. So I have a couple of things just to share with you. Let's see. Okay. I don't know who I'm muting, but I'm muting somebody. Oh, my computer keeps flipping. Excuse me one second. My computer screens keep flipping on me. Okay. Now I'm ready. Okay. Are you seeing my presenter mode?
Yeah, we got it.
All right. So planning and career exploration. So for those of you that weren't on the last presentation, it's planning career exploration, a co-convening of CMSD and the Cleveland Foundation. And its goal is to take students from here to career. PACE is, if you need to know anything about PACE, it's kind of these high level talking points, right? It's embedded curriculum for 6th through 12th graders. It's a variety of in-school curriculum and out-of-school lessons and engagements. I need to update my own slide here. It's students all graduating with an intentionally designed career pathway plan, every single one of them. It's a new way of thinking that shifts the conversation with students from what are you college bound or career bound to what's your career goal or vision. So even at your STEM event, start asking those kids, what's your career goal? What do you want to do? What's your career pathway, right? Some of those younger kids aren't going to know, but hopefully your presenters are talking about different occupations and things that they're part of. And it's advising and supports that enable students to take their vision from here to career. So in this, there's been a team of 100 individuals, 40 some organizations, 75 employer plus partners that really worked for 2 years to design this framework that includes new curriculum. If Fee looks at this will look a lot like MC Squared STEM High School. We go back a long time together on that, but it's really working intentionally to bring things to the classroom, get students out of the classroom, and spend a lot of time reflecting and reacting to what they saw, what they learned, and then creating these pathways to figure out, is it best for them to go straight to the workforce, get a certificate, or do they need to go to a 2 or 4 year degree or get a graduate degree for the field that they want to go into? So a lot of work. We're really excited. Thursday, we finally got to a point with all of our resources. Shout out to Casey Roach on the call. Casey has been an amazing partner in this effort and worked really hard to get everything created and polished up in a way that we can present it out to employer partners like yourself. And now we're at our call of action phase. And this is why Ebony brought me here today. So there's no wrong way to get involved in PACE. So we're trying to make this easy. It means we have to communicate this a lot of times so a lot of different folks understand it. So the first way to get involved, if your organization is new, if you haven't heard the whole PACE pitch yet, click the link. I'll share this with Ebony after and Jeremy, and they could send this out to everyone. We have an interest form. Click that. One of the PACE team members will reach out to you to schedule a 30, 45-minute call to just understand more about PACE, really understand where you want to engage and the best way to do so. If you already know about PACE and you want to sign up as a partner, we have this link to register in the new system within CMSD, the Transio, which will be the place to for students to both record all of their exploration, do activities, but it's where they'll find experiences to sign up for internships, apprenticeships. It's where they can look at different job shadow or site tour opportunities. So we really want you all to become a PACE partner. You can also go to the website. The website, hopefully by the end of this week, will be completely updated again with all of the new information, all the new links about individual opportunities, the links to all the resources that Casey's created, and it will be another great place to go. You'll also be able to get to that interest form and organization form from, and you already can from the Cleveland Metro Schools that Work PACE website. You can continue working with a local CMSD building leader. If you're already connected, for example, at John Marshall IT with Janine King, keep working with Janine at John Marshall. She's got this information. She's going to get you connected into all these opportunities at the school. We know that there's some buildings that don't have that kind of infrastructure right now. So we're working to create resources and supports to provide each building the level of support that they need. You can volunteer, continue to work with an anchor partner. So if you already work with Junior Achievement or YOU, you can work with them directly. Contact them. They have the information to engage as well. You can bring your employee resource groups together. Say, how do we want help, right? This would have been a great month if we would have got it out there ahead of time for an African-American forum to get together and say, let's get in these schools, let's make an impact this month, right? That's what we did with my team previously at GE. We really took advantage of those months to highlight and raise up the work that different resource groups do together. If you have your own programs, you might have a hackathon that you want to share with students at CMSD and other schools. You can share that event directly through this new tool as well, and it will get published for multiple people across the district to see. So you'll have an easier way to engage. You won't have to worry about who's my contact here, who's my contact here. You can go and put information in one place and it will get disseminated out for you. The real goal is to have students be the driver of their own car, right? Like we want them to be taking the wheel, finding events and experiences that align with their interests and passions that they're identifying, and they sign up and register and then have supports and resources in the building to do so. Okay. The next thing is I have a little calendar here. We will send this out in a PDF, but actually if you use this file, you can get to these links the same. So we have a one-pager, or I put it in slides for you guys to see. So our immediate call to action is actually for 7th, 9th, and 10th graders. We have 3 lessons. One is debriefing the learning style inventory for 7th graders, and 2 different, it's like in different workplace environments and personalities in the workplace for 9th and 10th graders that we're looking for folks to register for and to come into some of the classrooms that need support. We have all of these different links to submit site tours. If your organization wants to host a site tour, we have different classroom experiences. 9th and 12th grade, this is a little bit of an eye chart on Zoom, I apologize. But we want to have people come in and host career chats, whether they go in a classroom or set something up virtual. Talk about your occupation, talk about your career pathway. Students will have some pre-work to do on some of those. They'll also have reflections that they need to capture. And so hopefully they're engaged in asking you questions in those sessions. And we need them from all across different occupations. This is not just focused on in-demand. We need folks in every industry, in every career cluster, in every occupation to be talking to these students. PACE is student driven. So we need to be able to connect this small pool of students that has a very niche interest into people that they can learn from. We're conducting mock interviews for every sophomore across the district. Pushed really hard to make sure that this happened, but we know how well it worked at MC Squared STEM, and we wanted to bring this to the rest of the students. every student should have this opportunity to be prepared to conduct an interview when they go on an internship, apprenticeship, or job shadow opportunity. We need a whole lot of summer job hosts. We need job shadows for all of our 10th, 11th, and 12th graders. We need to have internships, apprenticeships for every single 11th and 12th grader. So if you weren't engaged before and want to get engaged, we strongly encourage you to do that. And all of that stuff I talked about that Casey put together for this team is resources to help you do so easily. Figure out what's the best way to engage. How do I quickly jump in? And we have a whole bunch of supports that are ready to support you along that path. So these are the immediate call to actions. Again, we have a lot of resources. We have a lot of messages crafted around this and a lot of folks willing to help get you engaged. So I will pause there. Casey, Ebony, Alyssa too, because you've been part of this. Anything that I missed that you would like to share with the rest of the team?
I would just, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say from my end, you definitely covered a lot. And then that's the part where I was going to say, if it seems intimidating, not for anyone to be intimidated by it. You're just giving everything, but to just make sure that our organizations know that they can show up, for their one of a kind of experience with PACE. So that's the main thing I want to hone in on. I'm sorry, Casey, all you.
Oh, no, I would just say, first of all credit, a lot of credit goes to Andrea, and she's done such an amazing job pulling all of this together. And then if you have networks that you want to, maybe you're not the right person, but if you have a network that you want to, spread the word to, Andrea pulled together great, ready to go, send it out, emails that we can make sure that you get a hold of, so that if you're like, I want to share this with my coworkers, I want to share this out. We have that language where you can just plug and play. And as a partner organization who registered in Transio, it took longer for me to get the email from Andrea than it actually did for me to register. So that delay that I have on my Gmail, that's the oh crap button that I call, was more of a delay than it was to register. The registration process is so incredibly intuitive. It's 2 steps and you're ready to go. So it might be intimidating, but please don't think it is. We're here to support you, and it's so incredibly easy.
Perfect. Well, thank you both for sharing. I'm excited to hear more updates. And I said this in the chat, but if you didn't see it in there, I know Andrew mentioned some links, and Andrew, if you want to throw those in the chat now, you can. But also when we send out our follow-up email about this session, you'll get those links in there and you'll be able to access them all. All right. So we talked about a lot already today. Black History Month kickoff, all this stuff with the Cavs and the Cavs updates, multiple ways to engage with the PACE program. And now is the part of the TV show where we like to hear a little bit from all of you if you have anything to share. So I'm curious, we ask this, sometimes 10 people raise their hands, sometimes none do, that's okay. Does anybody have any programming or needs or questions coming up right now for your organizations that you would like to make aware to everyone here in the network? And please keep in mind too, that the things you share don't just show up here with the folks who are logged in, but they also go out to the broader community through the email communication. I see Fee already with her hand up. You know what, Fee, when there are new people, they always raise their hands real fast.
Yeah.
Fee, what can you share with us?
So thank you for the forum. I am super excited to be at a point where we can actually share some of the exciting work that we're doing with Verizon and Jumpstart. So Jumpstart is launching the Verizon Community Forward Learning Centers. These are full makerspace classrooms. One is located in the Clark Fulton Library, the other located in the Earl B. Turner Rec Center. And we are programming and getting ready to invite people in and launch a whole series of STEM and workforce readiness programs. We're ready to go. So we're now excited to invite all of our NeoSTEM people there to explore and learn more. And I'm going to actually throw a bunch of stuff in the chat for you so you have some information.
Thanks, Fee. I have a question for you. I'm going to ask a selfish question because I've got the microphone, so I get to. I've seen drawings and some photos of the building. It's really beautiful, and it's kind of out in the neighborhoods in Cleveland, which is one of our focus areas. If I want to use one of those classrooms for programming or events, what does that cost to folks who want to use those spaces?
So we have a really expensive cost of free. We're going to offer everything we offer at the centers will be free to the community, free to NeoSTEM, free to anyone who wants to use it. This means I can collaborate with you to help you design programming, or you can just use our makerspace and classroom space to launch your own programs. And we will do it in exchange for just you giving us a copy of your sign-in sheet. That's all we ask.
Everybody else is here. Please ignore what Fee just said until I can book every available time. And then you can think about that. All right, up next, Jacinda, I see your hand raised. What do you have to share with us?
Yeah, hi everyone. This is only my second meeting, so I really apologize if I'm not following proper protocol and asking.
Jacinda, we don't have protocol. Maybe we should have protocol, but we don't have any. So go ahead.
Jeremy, everyone has protocol. Maybe you don't know the protocol. Maybe the protocol. Look, everybody and everything has protocol. Trust me on this one.
I don't know. I think I'm going to push back and say just have at it.
Just have at it. Ebony, everybody has protocol. Trust me.
All right.
All right. So what can you share with us?
So what I'm trying to understand more about is really the network. I mean, this is only my second time. I was referred by a couple of my clients because of the work that we do at Design Explorer. And so I've been trying to read the website and I've been trying to kind of catch up. And so I kind of missed a little bit last month on the sign up. So I was able to jump in last month, but I'm trying to understand more about the partner and the activities. And I'm trying to understand, is this for-profit businesses? Is this for non-profit businesses? Is this for EDU businesses? I'm trying to understand, is there creatives involved in this? I would also really love to find out if you guys are the STEM people. Do you know where the STEAM people are? So I just have a plethora of great questions.
Well, I'll take a stab, and then maybe Ebony or even Alyssa, if she wants to, can jump in. But the answer to that question, in short, and I'm happy, and I'm sure Ebony would be too, to talk at another time if you want more, is yes to all of those things. The idea of an ecosystem, and there's, Alyssa, you don't have to put in the chat, something like 101 of them or something around the world right now. But there's this one in Cleveland. The idea is to bring together K-12 education, higher ed, business and industry, funders and foundations, out of school time, in some cases, faith-based organizations, all of those different types of organizations together to figure out what the common needs are and to work together towards kind of those common goals. So yes, you're absolutely invited and welcome. This song is louder than that last song. I've got to figure out my volume because I go from like...
I figured you were giving me the secret sign to hurry that question up.
No, it goes from like 0 to 20%. And I can't figure out. I've got to play with it another day. So that's kind of the component there. From a STEAM component, I'll tell you that it is NeoSTEM and TIES and a lot of other organizations' philosophy that STEAM... I don't know. I'm going to say this bluntly and obnoxiously. I'm not going to say it as nicely as other people would. STEAM is part of STEM. It's a critical part of STEM. We don't always call it out with the letter because it becomes really easy to add 400 letters. You may have seen an event in Cleveland 2 years ago that was a STREAM event, which stood for Science, Technology, Recreation, Engineering, Arts, Math, and 2 M's, Medicine. Well, it becomes very easy to start adding more and more letters. So our philosophy has always been the focus is on the interplay of STEM, but to do that right, you need the arts. Design is a critical component. You need English language arts and writing and reading because you can't do that work without those skills. So we believe pretty deeply in including all those components. We don't always say all the letters. You're welcome to, but we don't here, but not because we don't believe in the importance of the arts, if that makes sense. Ebony, anything to add to my rambling?
Thank you, Jeremy. I thought it was great. I think I'll share with just my story about how I felt when I first ran across NeoSTEM. Went to the website. I'm like, what is this thing? And then I just kind of like poked a little bit and reached out. And I remember when I just recently like reconnected with the organization again, and it was right around the time when they were planning this thing with teacher externships, and they were looking for employers like, hey, who's out there who wants to do this thing? And it spoke to me. So that's how I got involved. It was the need that I had coming from an organization that I had represented to something that was happening, at NeoSTEM. So you have this huge community of folks, and they're always sharing information. And if it fits, like if that's the right thing that you're looking for, or maybe you don't know, it's a whole network of people that you can begin to connect with to kind of bridge the gap with that. So that's why I was kind of pushing back on a protocol, because literally when I came in kind of like, what do? I just kind of shot an email out, and I got a little bit of hand holding through the process for my specific need. So please, please, please just feel free. You can reach out to me directly. Any one of us here, we can kind of do that and kind of share that process. So, and I'm sure all of our partners on the call, would definitely support you in your efforts and what it is you're trying to accomplish.
Well,
but I think it's a great question as a newbie.
I've been direct messaging people, but I'm just not sure if I'm doing the right people. So that's why I just figured I would just verbally ask. Perhaps somebody would know. Well, then I will try to hang out for another meeting and see if I can understand more.
That sounds good. Just and please feel free to ping me or John, Roschek, or Ebony. And any of us would be happy to jump on a Zoom with you and dig in a little deeper at some point in the interim if that's something that's useful.
Okay.
Anybody else have John and Ebony just both put their emails in chat there. Anybody else have anything to share before we close for the day? All right. Well, as usual, we'll stick around for a minute if you have other questions or needs, or you just want to hang out and talk. Otherwise, we'll see you next month, and we hope to hear from you more about the Cavs event and everything else that is happening. Thank you all for joining us, particularly to our new folks, and we will see you all next time. Thanks, everyone.